Hello again, Chris Lee and Jay Greeson of Southeastern 16 here to give you three bold predictions on the South Carolina Gamecocks for the coming football season. First of all, reminder, our channel is brought to you by FanDuel, where you can get player props, same game parlays, because FanDuel's SGP menu is deep and impressive, so you can really build some fun combinations around player performances and game outcomes. FanDuel has you covered with competitive odds and lots of betting options. Just remember to bet responsibly and have fun with it. Jay, what do you see of interest around the Gamecocks at FanDuel today?
Well, I think it starts where everybody would start looking at South Carolina, and that's Lenora Sellers, who was tremendous last year in his redshirt freshman season. A guy that is going to be a handful, both running it and throwing it. It is an offense that's going to be quarterback specific and quarterback driven. And for everybody who knows me, this is insanely high praise. But if he stays healthy and they find a couple of pieces around him, I mean, he's got like Cam Newton light levels of duality and upside.
Yeah, the frame is very similar. Looking forward to seeing what he and the Gamecocks can do. When you're watching Carolina, what you need to pull up beside you is your tumbler from GameTime Sidekicks. You can see mine here. I put 40 ounces of ice and water in that every morning. You can still hear the ice shaking from several hours ago because, boy, does it keep it cold or hot if that's what you want with your coffee. Anyway, GameTime Sidekicks has officially licensed stainless steel drinkware. Every SEC school, over 350 more universities. It is top of the market quality in terms of construction and ice retention. Tons of designs and logos offered for each school, even the College Vault line. Everything from stainless steel sippy cups, tumblers, and 40-ounce plus bottles, plus shaker cups. Go to GameTimeSidekicks.com, enter SE16 for your 20% discount on your entire order. Jay Greeson, we're going to start our bold predictions with you. And yours, I kind of like because, boy, this kid ought to tear it up at the Underwear Olympics, as you call it.
Well, I think in a college football landscape dominated by true sophomore wide receivers, at least in that position, Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, Cam Coleman, South Carolina wide receiver Nyck Harbor is going to, I don't know how much he's grown as a route runner. He was pretty much a go threat, but at 6'5", with low 4.3 speed at that size, he's built like DK Metcalf, man. So he's going to go to Indy in the draft scenarios, and he's going to wow everybody. So my bold prediction about this South Carolina football team, Nyck Harbor is a first-round pick next spring.
DK Metcalf is an interesting comp. A guy, I don't know if you'd call him a late bloomer, but the size and the speed are pretty reminiscent. I think one of the things about Nyck Harbor, and I thought about making him one of my bold picks, you beat me to it, is he quit running track to concentrate more on football. He's a third-year guy. It just feels like there's a lot of pieces in place to take the next step, including one being a quarterback who can get him the ball and has to be watched because of his mobility. So you can't just make the Gamecocks one-dimensional.
Well, he's dynamic, and those various dimensions on offense. I imagine Shane Beamer is not only getting tired of answering questions about Rasul Faison, but I imagine he's getting tired of waiting for the NCAA to pass him through whatever clearinghouse they have to in terms of eligibility in the modern era of the portal and Diego Pavia and all the other moving parts that come with the modern era clearinghouse.
Yeah, and as we're doing this, we're a little bit under 2 weeks out from the season. He's been cleared to practice. We kind of exempted him from our predictions because we don't know if he's going to play or not. We presume he is. By the way, he's actually a year older than Pavia in terms of high school graduation. So he'd be maybe the old man of the SEC if he gets eligible.
Well, he can, here in a year or so, they both could join me in the AARP.
Right. Well, I'd be right there with you. But we're talking a lot about guys that can have breakout campaigns. And I'm going to throw one at you because Clayton White did a really good job with Carolina's defense last year. They have sprung some leaks in recent years, but they were really an elite unit a year ago. They got after the passer. They developed guys. And based on what I hear from fall camp and just the conversation around these teams, Carolina is going to develop somebody on that back seven to be that next big thing for them. And Fred Johnson, with his speed and athleticism, from everything I've heard, and certainly there will be opportunity too. That's part of it. I feel like he's going to be Carolina's next breakout star on defense, Jay.
Well, they had a slew of them last year because good gravy. That I don't know if have you watched the Any Given Saturday documentary looking back at last year.
I watched a lot of it. Yeah.
Well, those guys just made a ton of plays, and they're going to need some guys that become difference makers, and Fred Johnson's a great pick. It's going to be even more magnified because of the arduous schedule that South Carolina has. I mean, you're talking about a team that has got a understandably considered Heisman contender at quarterback. We talked about a first round wide receiver. They've got a number of pieces to come back, and the win total is 7.5. Now, some of that is because of the schedule, but some of it is the need for a Fred Johnson or some of those guys to step up for a defense that had multiple all-conference dudes last year, and rightly so.
Yeah. Carry on. Sorry.
Well, which it is I don't know, especially without the Faison kid, I don't know how many SEC teams, even with Lenore Sellers, unless he's going to find Harbor 2 or 3 times a game on vertical routes, it's hard to be perpetually planning to outscore everybody in this league. It really
I do think the thing that you hear the offseason, they like the rest of their receiving room, which I think actually plays to Nyck Harbor's advantage because it narrows the focus. Well, he's not as big a focal point of the defense is what I'm trying to say. If their other guys are as good as maybe they think they are going to be.
Which leads me to my next one is that Dylan Stewart is right there among the SEC leaders in sacks. Could lead the league in sacks. He had 6.5 a year ago. But as we've had conversations, I liken pass rushers in this aspect to really good Major League Baseball rotations, where if you've got a bona fide one, a Hall of Fame one, it makes every other pitcher in your rotation that much better because a good 2 then is going to be better than the other team's 2. A good 3, but you lose the bell cow anchor atop your rotation and everybody has to move up, a good 2's not going to beat a lot of good 1s. Can Dylan Stewart be the guy who commanded the double teams like he had around him last year, which allowed him to have a monster season in 2024 because he was just beating one guy? He's going to see double teams, but I expect big things. That dude is freakishly talented. And here's the other thing. It has felt like for like 10 plus years, every Sunday night on NBC on Sunday Night Football, where they do the headshot and the guys introduce themselves, it feels like South Carolina in every game has at least one defensive front 7 player say, Jay Greeson, University of South Carolina. I mean, it feels like every year they're putting some dude from the front 7 into the league.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you can even go further than that. They put a couple of safeties and corners in the league recently. I think it's interesting. Our three bold predictions were all around players. But Jay, this staff has done a tremendous job in just developing guys like the guys that, on last year's defense that went to the league. Um, there were a bunch of them. If you go back a couple of years ago, I know they lost him to another team. I don't know, James Madison gets some of the credit, but they made Antoine Wells into a big time player for sure at a big level. I just think that Shane Beamer's staff has done an outstanding job at taking players. Some of them are really talented. Some of them are lesser known guys coming in, but I feel like they've done a really good job at making guys on their roster better and getting them to the league on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and it's also part of the conversation that South Carolina is a really sneaky good state for high school football.
Yeah, that's true. Good athletes in particular. Like they've had some basketball players. You don't think of Carolina as a basketball state, but there are a lot of really good athletes. And the other part of that defensive development, because we did pick two guys here, Jay. Clayton White, their defensive coordinator. I mean, South Carolina's defenses were just dreadful for years. He's done a really, really good job. I think the question this year with them, and that's one reason none of our picks, and I'll get into some other reasons too, were around team goals because the schedule's so tough. But I just think, again, the development piece and Clayton White in particular, I don't know, that might be one of the more under-talked about assistants in this league, given his work that he did a year ago.
Well, you talk about team goals, and I'm for a team that was on the cusp and beat Clemson at the end of the year, was a doinked field goal at the end of regulation from taking LSU to overtime. I was a little surprised that the FanDuel number of their win total is 7.5, and it is greatly shaded. You get plus money going over 7.5, which is a huge testament to how arduous their schedule is.
Yeah, we'll get into that in just a minute. Just a reminder on the way out before we make a couple of more points and get into some interesting numbers at FanDuel. Our show's sponsored by ROKFORM. That is ROKFORM. Go to the website, just add a .com to that. It is the world's strongest magnetic phone case. It offers extreme protection. It has super strong magnets, It has rock lock secure mounting. It is the most durable and multifunctional phone case you'll find, and the accessories are that way too. At ROKFORM, quality is paramount, so you can expect the same military-grade standards with all their case accessories as you do the actual cases. Go to rockform.com, enter promo code SEC25 for 25% off your order. Also, FanDuel, a proud sponsor of the show, where you get player props, same-game parlays. Its SGP menu is deep and impressive. So you can build some really fun combinations around player performance and game outcomes. FanDuel's got you covered with competitive odds and tons of betting options. Just remember to bet responsibly and have fun with it. Jay, what else is of interest around the Gamecocks at FanDuel?
Well, I'm quite bullish on them, and I'm going to keep an eye on them on FanDuel because right now they're 7.5 here on August 18th for the season opener as a favorite in Atlanta. I like them to cover that number and beat Virginia Tech pretty handily, even with the emotional ties to the Beamer Bowl. But look, this is a team. Bryce Williams is a great home field environment. It feels like South Carolina is one of those that is perpetually underrated, especially if you can find them as a home dog. This is a team that I'm a little bit of a believer in.
Yeah, I believe in what Shane Beamer's done. I'm a little concerned about all the losses on defense. Again, I think they will develop other players, but I think the schedule was the main reason I didn't go with any team goals. Look, if this team goes 9-3, it deserves to be in the playoffs. And let's hope that this year strength of schedule will matter a little bit more because they are playing a handful of playoff contending teams. I mean, I could argue that South Carolina has got maybe behind Florida the toughest schedule of anybody in America.
Well, I actually think Oklahoma's got the toughest schedule in the conference. they play 8 ranked teams, and that's not counting Missouri or Auburn, who are teams that you and I have had conversations about having potential playoff aspirations. But you go to LSU, you go to College Station, you get Clemson at home, you get Alabama at home. I mean, you get Oklahoma and Columbia. There's some heavy lifting to be done for sure.
Yeah, one of the problems with their schedule, there's just not a lot of free spots on the bingo card. Maybe Coastal Carolina, maybe Kentucky at home. But other than that, South Carolina State, it is a schedule that's just loaded from start to finish. And we'll be here to cover it. A very interesting team Shane Beamer's got coming into this football season. We'll get you covered on all your Gamecock stuff after all the games. We'll probably be doing 3 live stream windows to react to games during the season. We'll have more preview content during the season. We cover baseball, football, and basketball all here at Southeastern 16. Thank you guys for watching. God bless you. For Jay Greeson, my co-host, I'm Chris Lee at Southeastern 16. We'll see you again soon with more SEC football content.